Here we have some different colors. I'm going to create two colors of orange, two shades of orange, a dark orange and a light orange, or a lighter orange mixed with some translucent clay. We also have sheets, very thin sheets of translucent clay and very thin sheets of white clay. All of these are very thin. I wrapped a piece of white, also mixed with some translucent, and then made a log and wrapped that with a very thin sheet of translucent. Once that was wrapped, I took a sharp blade and pressed in a few millimeters so that the white or translucent would go into the next color. I did the same with the orange in one shade. After it was rolled smooth, I took then the blade and pressed into each of those colors so that they would go into the following. The end scraps I rolled thin and put that on the top randomly, took the blade and made cuts several millimeters so that each color would go into the next. Rolled it slightly smooth and took off once in a while the end pieces. And again, in between each layer of orange, I would roll out a small amount of the translucent in between each color of orange or each shade of orange. And I always used my picture in front of me of a printout of the real carnelian. And in between each shade of orange and each layer of white or translucent, the blade came out and pressed one sheet of polymer clay slightly into the next. I would randomly cut off the scrap pieces, and here you see the scrap piece added to the top. And then once it's rolled out into my cane to the size to fit in my polymer cane extruder, it was misted with water, and at that point I cut off slices. Here's a sample of a slice next to the picture of the real carnelian. Once I made the beads, I sanded them once they were cured, and then I had this bail that I made. I made it too shallow, but I have some rub and buff that I put on once it was baked. Here the pieces are buffed with a buffing wheel from my husband's garage. Here you can see I was using a tool to cut out a little bit more. It was slightly shallow. Here's the finished piece with some beads and some stringing material I found. Here is my little red robin and some beads, hollow beads that I made to look like little nests. Here's a close-up of my little birdie. It was a copper colored polymer clay, and I took little indentations, his little copper feet.